What's going on, everybody? Dale Valor here with another MVD exclusive video. So check this out. So often, man, guys tend to think that all women just have these sterling personalities, that they're just super outgoing, that they're, club girls, fun, party girls, and all girls are like that. And that is not the case, man. You can't put every single woman in the same box. It's silly to do that because, look, everybody has different experiences growing up. Everybody has different personality types. People tend to have different worldviews and all kinds of things like that. They essentially make them who they are as an individual. And so not every girl, man, is super outgoing and just ultra confident and all that kind of thing. Many women are shy or introverted, or both, And so, look, you're likely to encounter women that are shy, okay, or introverted, like I said. It's not necessarily the same thing, but you get where I'm going with this. Not super outgoing, let's put it that way. So, how do we engage them? How do we interact with them? If they're not super forthcoming and super open and, let's go have a good time, let's have fun. How do we manage that? How do we navigate it? So that's what we're going to get into today. Let's get into number one. Let's go. Number one, call it out. That's what I love to do. When I'm interacting with a woman that you can just tell that she's shy, man. You can just tell. She's not very open with not only her personality, but her body language seems to be closed off. She's not very talkative. And a mistake that a lot of guys make is, oh, well, she just must not be into me. And that's not necessarily the case. Some women, when they're around guys that they find attractive, that they really would love to talk to, but they're in their shell, they actually go down in their shell deeper because they're afraid of embarrassing themselves. They're afraid of what you might think about them, so they just don't put themselves out there as much because they're nervous. They're anxious and they're afraid of messing up, okay? They would rather you be indifferent to them than think that, well, you don't like them because they did or said something stupid, okay? And, generally that's not even the case. They're not even going to, say anything dumb. It's just they're in their own head, just the same as many of you guys are probably watching this now, okay? Now, the thing is, I'm going to call it out. So if I'm interacting with her and she says or, does something and I could just tell that she's shy, what I'm going to say to her is I'll be like, listen, I know that you're probably a little bit on the shy side and you might not feel super comfortable right now, but hey, look, let's just have some fun. Let's hang out a little bit. I'll open up to you. I'll carry the weight here. All right. You just have a good time and it'll be fun. Trust me. That alone, simply by addressing it, it communicates to her that she's coming off a certain way. A certain way that maybe I might not like. Now, I didn't say that I didn't like it, but knowing how she probably thinks, she's probably going to come out of her shell a little bit because she's probably going to say, oh, he thinks that I'm shy. He thinks that I'm too laid back or not being as fun. I better step it up a little bit just so he doesn't get that impression of me, even though it's probably the right impression. So she's likely to start stepping it up a little bit and start interacting a little bit more and being somewhat more social, okay? Just simply by saying it. I'm not saying to make fun of her. I'm not saying to blast her for it or anything like that. I'm just saying acknowledge it, okay? All right, we're going to get number two. Let's go. Number two, carry the weight. All right, so if she's not the most sociable person in the whole wide world, maybe it's somebody that you've kind of been talking to a little bit and you just get the impression that she is just not very forthcoming, talking about herself all that much, okay? And she's just not a super outgoing, bubbly personality person, okay? And you're okay with that. We'll just say that you're okay with it. For some guys, that might be a deal breaker in and of itself. But if you're okay with it, and you might be along those lines too a little bit, but understand you're going to have to carry the weight. If you're waiting for her to text you first, if you're waiting for her to call you first, to make a move, to suggest hanging out or suggest going to a place, things like that, it's not going to happen. Not on the onset anyway. Once she starts to get a little more comfortable with you and you get to know each other a little bit more, she might, kind of open up a little bit more. But until then, you are going to have to carry the weight of everything. So understand that, okay? If you're okay with that, then proceed. All right, just know that you're going to have to do it. If you're not okay with that, you might want to cut bait, okay? But if you're all right with it, understand you're going to have to carry the weight of conversations, every conversation for the most part, until she starts feeling comfortable with you. You're going to have to carry the weight of suggesting what you do, when you do it, where you're going to go, all that kind of thing, okay? You're going to have to carry the weight as far as reaching out to her, all right? She's likely to not reach out to you first. It's going to be pulling teeth to get her to give you an opinion on anything, because she's probably afraid that, hey, I'm a little self-conscious here. I don't want to say the wrong thing, all right? So getting to know her might be a little bit more difficult, but if you're willing to do it, and I'm not saying that you should or you shouldn't. There's been times that I felt it was worth it. There's been other times I was just like, man, no, I'm not doing this. This is way too much. Just not going to do it. So just know that going into it, make a decision for yourself and proceed accordingly. So listen, in the comments, what I want you to do is drop a comment if you've ever been in this situation where you've had to interact with a very shy woman. Okay, how did that go? What was your experiences? Is it something that you would do again? Okay, I would love to have that conversation with you, so put those in the comments, and we're going to get into number 3. Let's get it. Number 3, don't do group activities. All right, now that is one of my favorite things to do when I'm starting to interact with a young lady. I may suggest that, hey, why don't you and your friends and me and my friends, we'll all get together and we'll all be friends, all right? Right from the Biggie song. Because there's all kinds of opportunities and options of things that could potentially happen by doing that, all right? If I'm dealing with a girl that's really, really shy, I'm not going to do that because it's going to put so much pressure on her, in particularly if she's introverted, all right? And she needs that recharge, charge her batteries with peace and quiet and alone time. That may drain that battery extremely quick, being around a bunch of your rowdy friends hanging out, okay? So that's not something that I'm going to suggest that we do. I'm going to suggest that we do things together, where the emphasis is more about me and her having conversations about where it is that we are and what it is that we're doing. A museum would be a good example of hanging out with her, okay? Because the focus isn't directly on each other, it's on what's going on around you, and you can have conversations about whatever it is that, if it's modern art, if it's classic art, whatever it is, you can have conversations about that, and you can kind of drift off away from each other a little bit. It's, she's looking on one side of a room, you're looking on the other, so the emphasis isn't so heavy, and she has to feel like that she has to, engage with you constantly. So things like that would be good, but, no parties, not on the onset anyway. Now, if you've been dating for a while and things like that, she's just going to have to come out of her shell to a degree, just because I'm more an extrovert, so I'm more likely to want to go do things like that. And I'm not saying she has to come every single time, but she's going to have to come sometimes. So, but by that point in time, she's invested enough that she's willing to do that. So, keep all those things in mind, and we're going to get number 4. Let's go. Hey guys, wanted to take this quick time out just to remind you, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you do so now. Don't miss out on any of the quality content that we're putting out there that can potentially change your life. All right, hit that notification bell. You guys know the deal, a thumbs up. Also, the last Saturday in October, we're going to be doing our live Zoom event on building comfort and rapport. Why is that important? Man, look, If a girl cannot get comfortable with you, it is going to be significantly harder to make anything happen. You know, any kind of connection that you're trying to build. So that's why it's so important. That's why we're going to talk about it. You know, we always have the link available. All you got to do is register, show up. It's 100% free. It's always a great time, man. So just wanted to give you that quick reminder, and we'll see you soon. Number 4, take the lead. I would argue that this is probably the most important point here. Now, we talked about carrying the weight. We talked about not putting her in positions of meeting a bunch of people all at the same time, you know. We talked about a lot of stuff here, but this is the most important because I believe this to be true of all your interactions, but specifically this to the utmost. You have to lead, because if you're going to let her dictate decisions, okay, she's going to be worried about making the wrong choice, all right? And she's just not going to want to do it, all right? She's just likely to not want to make the call. So take the onus for that. You know, decide that you are going to be the leader in this interaction. And lead all the way through. If you're waiting for her to start throwing you compliments, it's probably not going to happen. If you're waiting for her to make a move sexually, it's not going to happen. You have to lead all the way through this interaction, okay? If you don't, and you consistently drop the ball, she's likely to not want to be a part of your life because she doesn't want to make those choices. At least not until she's comfortable. So make sure, and again, this is across the board, in my opinion, that you should be trying to lead your relationships. But in this case specifically, it is necessary, okay? You have to do it if you want this thing to work out in this interaction between you and the shy girl. So listen, guys, earlier in the video, we talked about carrying the weight, okay? And a large part of that is going to be the conversations that you have. You know, you should be driving that conversation. If you're not, you're dropping the ball. We did a video a little while back on never running out of things to say, conversational skills, all right? And I think it's really important because I hear so many guys always talking about, like, what do you talk about on a date? I always run out of things to talk about when I'm talking to a girl, when there's literally billions of things that you could talk about. So go to that video, especially if you're having a problem with this, okay? Go to that video because we go really, really deep on it, and I will see you there.